Welcome back, everybody. This is Brother Me here. Today we have a viewer requested build. Someone wanted an Eldritch Knight build where we literally go with a Lich path. So what we have here is an interesting take on it. You notice that I did not go heavy into Wizard. Despite this, you will finish, thanks to you merging your spellbook with the Lich path, as a caster level 20. One level of Wizard, 9 more levels coming from Eldritch Knight. Remember, the first level of Eldritch Knight doesn't give you anything, except for like fighter stuff. And then 10 more from merging our Lich spellbook into it. So again, 9 plus 1 plus 10, caster level 20. Full caster, you will finish as technically a level 19 fighter. Remember, Eldritch Knight levels are considered fighter levels. It also increases your base attack bonus much like a fighter level would. So again, 19 levels. I have a BAB of 19. This is actually better than a Sword Saint build, simply because I can get to level 9 spells thanks to my merging of spellbooks. I have a higher base attack bonus. 15 is as high as it would go as a base attack bonus for an for a Sword Saint, excuse me. So I literally have that going for me. Now, yeah, I lose some of the fiddly bits of being a Sword Saint, like the ability to buff my weapon, give extra armor based on my high intelligence, etc. and so forth. But again, as a fighter, I can put on full plate mail. Now, yes, I can't cast spells in that. You should take it off, buff up, then put your armor back on, then run into battle. On that, let's talk about your spell book. I've given you every spell in the game because as a wizard, you will scribe them into your book. Even if you're wizard level 1 and you haven't unlocked Lich yet, you will have the ability to scribe all the wizard spells. That doesn't include these weird-ass, Blessing of Unlife, the ones that are unique to being a Lich path. Those just show up for you. But everything else, you're going to want to scribe. So now the question becomes, when do you want to level up? Do you start off as a fighter and then work your way slowly into, unlocking that one level of wizard? I did, just to make the character, 9 fighter, 1 wizard, 10 Eldritch Knight, and again, to do this one justice, you actually have to unlock Lich first before you can unlock Eldritch Knight. That's the weird part of this build. I can't say that that's something that's going to happen. I think it's something you can make sure happens, though. So you just keep taking fighter levels until you unlock the Lich path, which means Mythic rank 3, picking Lich, of course. You have to make sure before you do that you are at least 1 level of Wizard. Why? Because when you unlock the Lich path, you're going to need to say, I want to merge spellbooks. They're going to need a spellbook to merge with, which means that 1 level of Wizard has to be picked by then. Note something else. You need not only Mythic rank 3 to unlock that Lich, you need Mythic rank 4 of Lich, so basically the second level after that, to be able to pick Eldritch Knight. Why? Because when you merge your Lich spellbook with your terrible Wizard spellbook, you're only going to be like level 2 casting. Level 1 comes from the very first level of Wizard. You need to be able to cast, I believe, level 3 spells to unlock Eldritch Knight. To do that proper, you need 1 level of Wizard, 4 levels of Mythic path, the last 2 of which are your Lich path, which merges with your Wizard spellbook. If you do that, you'll be casting level 3 stuff, and then you can go into Eldritch Knight. It's weird. I know it's weird. It's very fiddly. Having said that, if it's at all possible, and it might be, if it's at all possible, I would not honestly take 9 levels of Fighter, 1 level of Wizard, and then the last 10 levels of Eldritch Knight. I would do as many Fighter feats as I felt comfortable, or levels as I felt comfortable doing first. Get that Wizard before again unlocking Lich. More Fighter, unlock Lich level 2, so again, the 4th Mythic rank. And then at that point, go all in on Eldritch Knight. Come back to the last levels of Fighter if you can. Why? That seems weird, because fighters get feats at every goddamn level. At level 1, they get a feat for up here. They get another one down here. They get another one at level 2 here. 3, back up to there. 4, down here. You see the point. Fighters are awesome. Plenty of fun to be had here. But the reason is this. You really want to unlock that as soon as possible. Having this at the end when you're level 20 is not the end of the world, I'll grant you. But having the ability to cast a swift spell just because you critical hit with your weapon is awesome. You got 2 rounds to cast it. But that's pretty badass, and that's just straight up free. It's one of the reasons why people love playing an Eldritch Knight, in my opinion. Not to mention the fact that your base attack bonus increases dramatically compared to just a purest wizard. We also get free feats down here, here, and here. So it's not like the Eldritch Knight is a slacker by any stretch of the imagination. You will get plenty to work with. You continue to increase your spell casting progression once you get to level 2 Eldritch Knight on up to level 10. So that helps make your Wizard spellbook even better. And again, you get fighter training for each level of Eldritch Knight. So again, if you're, say, fighter level 5 when you finally start Eldritch Knight 1, you literally become fighter level 6, 7, 8, and all the way up to 10 plus 5, so 15. Then go back into your fighters. That would be the way I do it. Now, what kind of build can we do? There's a lot of ways to take this. So let's first talk about the one I did, and then a couple other possible solutions that I have that would change this up. First off, know that I did some silly shit at the end. That's your point blank master type stuff. You have raise spells. I figured why not be able to blap, blap, blap. You're going to be meleeing, right? So again, be fun. And again, I don't have a problem with this. I put it at the very end because A, it would remind me that we have it, and B, I can throw it in the trash if I don't want it. Notice we are a dex-based build, and of course an intelligence-based build as well. We went for the Vitalaborn, which is a dex bonus, intelligence bonus, Dhampir. That's what you asked for, was a Dhampir. This was the one that made sense to me. There is, of course, probably a strength intelligence version in there. You could have gone that route. And again, we'll talk about that in a minute. I went with the 2-weapon wielding and the dual kukris. Why? I could do any type of fighter that I want. Remember, you have simple weapon proficiency and martial weapon proficiency. Hell, you have light, medium, and heavy armor and shields at level 1 if you started as a fighter, which I recommend you do. Again, I would never take that wizard level until you feel like it's about time to unlock Lich. But again, why fighter and doing 2-weapon fighting? Again, extra armor. You're probably wearing robes as the wizard potential that you're going to have. We have spells like mage armor, shield, and other stuff that we'll buff with once we unlock all our wizard spells. And again, we'll have a mythic path ability called Archmage Armor eventually. And that thing's going to give you, when you cast that spell and stuff, just a plus 4 to your armor, plus 14. Sure, I have toyed with the idea of using actual armor. You are a fighter after all. You have skill in those light, medium, and heavy armor categories and shields. So I could, especially with like a two-handed build where I do like sword and board, I toyed with the idea of keeping armor and getting those two precious feats, the arcane armor training and arcane armor mastery, or whatever the hell they're called, where literally it lowers your arcane spell failure, if you look at your spell book, this number here, by 10% for each of those feats, 10% each, so 20% total. Well, the problem with that is while I could wear armor, and there's nothing wrong with that, I'd probably want to do that on a strength-based build more than a dex-based build. Again, that is an option. But B, I couldn't find very many pieces of armor in the game that would allow me to have no arcane spell failure then with that minus 20%. There's some, a chain shirt, certainly, damn it, I lost it. Padded armor, leather armor, and studded leather all fall in that category. Those are all light armors, even the chain shirt. And again, that's not the end all be all of existence, and it's not the worst thing ever. So getting a chain shirt plus 5, that's a 9 armor class bump. That's better than mage armor. So certainly you could see the appeal. The downside is if I get that archmage armor ability where I can buff my mage armor spell, that can get up to a plus 14. And there's no other armor I could find that remotely gave you 14 extra armor and still 0 spell failure chance. Sure, there were some close calls in there, like you could get like a breastplate that was mithril, or a chainmail shirt that was mithril, or a scale mail that was mithril. And again, that lowered the arcane spell failure enough that when you factored in your minus 20% from those two feats, you could make a passing. Some would have 0, some had 5%, I want to say. And again, that's not horrible. But again, those armors are like plus 6 for the armor itself, just generic armor. Then make it magic plus 5. So we're talking, what, an 11? Again, falls short of the 14 that I get from my Archmage Armor upgrade from, again, your Mythic Path, which, again, is late. The order of this is on you, on how to pick these. I'm just telling you the ones I'm grabbing. So, again, I'd fault it back to, I'd rather have robes, and I'd rather have dexterity, because, again, if I'm wearing robes, I get all that beautiful dexterity down here and here. I just have to worry about being flat-footed. And, again, I'm not buffed yet, so when I cast that spell and this goes up 14 points and this goes up 14 points, we're already looking a lot better. So again, solid build, good dexterity, enough dexterity to start, where I think I started you as a dexterity of 19 and I had an intelligence of 18. I put 1 point in dexterity at the end of the build just to get it, and then the first 4 points was an intelligence at every choice. So at level 4, 8, 12, and 16. Level 20, we finally capped off dexterity from 19 to 20. Now you may say, why do that? Why not go dexterity early? It's a better swing, better armor, better reflexes, and again, all viable options. But remember, you are a fighter early. So just because I'm a dex-based build doesn't mean I'm not wearing full plate mail or breastplate or chainmail, whatever makes sense. Yeah, I lose out on some of the dexterity bonuses for some of those armors until I reach a certain point. I'll talk about that in a minute. But by and large, I'd still rather have a breastplated character with no spells running into battle. And I probably wouldn't be wielding kukris right at the beginning, certainly not dual kukris. So why am I going two-weapon wielding versus a sword and board, or hell, even a reach weapon, like a nice glaive or a other kind of pole arm, long spear or bardiche, which again you would have the ability to pick as a fighter right at level 1. Feel free to switch off, but it would be something that would be for more of a strength-based build, for one. And I would rather have 4 attacks and 3 attacks that are solid attacks. So we're talking 7 attacks now, cast haste spell on me, we'll get up to 8 attacks around. And at a ridiculously high crit range. And I have, thanks to my mythic abilities, another crit modifier bonus to my weapon, the kukri. Instead of it being ×2 damage when it crits, it's now ×3. That's for any kukri I equip. These are nothing more than cold iron kukris right now. That's all you see here. I just gifted myself to so I can show this to you. Why is this one so appealing to me? Besides the extra attacks, notice we get a weapon training in a specific weapon category. So this doesn't much matter that it's kukri, so much as it matters that it's for both kukris. What do I mean? Remember, if you were one-handed wielding, like a longsword, or using, like I said, the bardiche, let's just say, you'd be getting 4 attacks. I'm getting 7. Both of them are the same weapon, so this applies to both weapons. So again, it's not just I'm getting 4 and then 3 other pieces of shit attacks. No, these are just as good as these ones. See the 35 and 35, the 30 and 30, the 25, the 25. This is why this build is as powerful as it is. Notice some other things. I have things shut off, so we need to turn on some buffs. So let's do that. First off, notice that you'll have Piranha Strike. Obviously, you're a dex-based character. We have Dark Rites, that's this buff here. That's something that he's getting as well. So again, caster levels increase for us so long as we have this toggle running is the idea. We have some other fiddly bits, like the ability to heal undead, damage the living, all that jazz. And again, as a Dhampir, you should be able to heal yourself when you heal undead. So again, you can self-heal, which is pretty damn cool in my opinion. But look at our damage potential. I probably have it paused, don't I? No, I don't. It just hasn't kicked in. Ah, there it is. Look at our damage potential now. Notice the -5. Notice you don't see a -2 for two-handed wielding. This would be something that would normally happen and will happen in your build. Where is it? See this mythic path here? I decided to go heavy on the feats that made you a fighter type. So notice that we have 2-weapon fighting mythic. That takes away a -2. Why do I say a -2, not the -2? It's -2 for us because we're using light weapons. Kukris, the best crit weapons in the game. The highest crit range anyway, right? And they're both light weapons. So finding one in each hand is an easy proposition for you. But that brings your 2-weapon fighting penalties, because there's always a penalty for wielding 2 weapons, down to -2 in each weapon. This takes that penalty completely away. So it's not just that I'm getting 3 extra attacks. I'm getting 3 extra attacks without the penalty. And all the buffs that I get for using a kukri in my one hand, I'm getting for the other hand, because it's also a kukri. So again, weapon focus, greater weapon focus, bing bing, got it on both hands. Weapon specialization, greater weapon specialization. If I grab them, they're on both weapons again, because they're both kukris. Notice, weapon finesse mythic. Doesn't matter what weapon you pick in this case, as long as it's a finessable weapon, which kukris are, you now turn those into, I'm getting all my dexterity modifier for damage. Let me show it to you. This +5 is added to my damage here. Half of it here. Why half? Because until you grab this feat called Double Slice, you will only get half. I did test this. I proved it to myself. It's still needed for the build. Easy enough to grab. Happily grab it. But this will turn you into a Ginsu chef like no one's business. Because that +5 here and here, added for damage now, is a nice surge. And remember, this is unmodified. We haven't cast spells on ourselves that could increase our dexterity. Cat's Grace, Reduce Person are all viable options here. Not to mention, I've yet to give you any magical gear that increases like your belt of dexterity +6 or whatever. So again, these numbers can all go up. This is just your naked character at level 20 right now, with a couple pieces of things that I just give you. So again, we can increase these numbers, this one and this one, certainly a lot more. So +5, at least expect it to be +8. If not more, I could probably get you around +10. That's not bad. But let's just stick with +8. So what is that giving you? Again, with our weapon finesse mythic ability, that's this guy right here, we can now wield any finesse wielding weapon in one hand and get that dex modifier. So that +8 is being added down here for damage. If we 2-weapon wield, thanks to our double slice ability, that's this one right here, we can again equip 2 weapons and get, as long as we're weapon finessing, and get +8 and +8 to the damage on both sides because our high dexterity, assuming I get it to +8. So that's not bad. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And again, you may say, well, so what? Why not just, again, go back to a one-handed weapon? Remember, 7 attacks. 2 the same, 2 the same, 2 the same, and then an extra one. And you forget that, of course, I can cast haste on myself, so now we're talking 8 attacks. 3 that'll be the same. So a +30, a +30, and a +30 over here. That's a lot of attacks in a combat round, and crit fishing is part of the build. I'll explain that in a bit. Sure, we could do it with a 2-handed weapon and go power attack. Go for a strength-based build. You would have less armor. But again, you could say, well, just put on plate mail. Again, early game, sure. Once you start getting wizard lich spells stuff, are you really going to want to not cast those spells? I assume you would. Sure, I can make you a lich fighter type. There's plenty of lich powers that lend itself to just being a badass fighter. And we actually pick out one that's not that bad, in my opinion. So again, when we talk about our lich powers, I have Fear Control. It's an amazing upgrade for you because it's a profane bonus to your swing. And that seems, so far, I mean, this could be a glitch. So again, bug report this, but I'm not going to. I have this on right now. Once I pick this up, no enemy is near me. And I'm still getting that profane +4 bonus to my attack. Notice my profane bonus to damage. I think that's when that kicks in, but only against frightened creatures. Or ones under mind-affecting effects, like it says in the tooltip there. But notice, all enemies within 10 feet of me have to make a will check, which is DC of 10, plus double my mythic rank. I'm rank 10 right now, so that's a 10 plus a 20. So that's a DC 30 check, or become shaken until the end of combat. If they are past that check, they're immune for the rest of the day. Whatever. Some guys are going to be afraid of you, is my point, right off the bat. A solid upgrade. And again, setting the shaking condition allows me to frighten them certainly easier with spells. So again, setting up the fact that I'm going to get more damage bonus. So this one, to me, smacks of you want to do damage. Which, of course, every character wants to. I mean, I've yet to have anyone come to me and say, hey, I want to make a healer that's just a pansy that sits in the back that doesn't even use a crossbow. I'm sure they exist. Pacifist builds, whatever. But it's very silly, in my opinion, to want to do something like that. And certainly for a main character. You can. I'm not going to tell you not to. It's your game. You're paying for it. Fucking play what you want to play. But to me, we were all about hitting and damage. So what was the best combo I could give you that I could think of on the fly? Mostly fighter, enough wizard to make it worth your while. So Fear Control's solid. Notice we even grab Tainted Sneak Attack. This gives you 1 sneak attack die. That's not amazing. We have spells that can give you upwards of, I want to say, 5d6 more. So Sense Vitals is an amazing spell. But that 1d6 is just free. Hey, we'll take that. And you need it for free because we don't have sneak attack otherwise. But read what the tooltip does. Every time you sneak attack, hence the 2-weapon fighting, all those pretty extra attacks. So every time we can sneak attack, the target has to make a Fortitude saving throw, DC 10 plus our int modifier, which is pretty damn good. It's not amazing. I mean, it was like 20 or 22 was the intelligence stat, and then so the modifier would be what, 6 plus 6 right now, plus our mythic rank, so 10. So 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 6 more is 26. And again, we will buff our intelligence. So I'm assuming that's going to go up another 4 or 5 points. So we're probably, again, right around DC of close to 30, 29, 30, 31, right around there. They make that check, and then nothing happens. But what happens if they fail the check? They become tainted. The tainted creature is vulnerable to all weapon damage, and you hit all the time with all those fucking beautiful little kukri attacks, right? Multiple attacks. And vulnerable, for those that don't know, mean that you do 50% more damage. Whatever the damage was. If you did 2, it's now 3. If you did 4, it's 6. You get the idea. So the more damage we can eke out, the better off you are. And again, you may say, hey, go power attack, build super strength. You're going to like mow stuff down. Sure, but you have less attacks. Notice this next part. As well as the bad guy that's tainted also is vulnerable, to elemental damage. Again, you're a wizard. You have spells. Level 20 wizard casting ability, which means all the wizardness that you could possibly get from Kingmaker is still here, and all the new spells besides. Pretty fucking cool. Then, keep going. The target that's tainted is also suffers a -2 penalty to all their attack rolls, their weapon damage rolls until the end of combat, which means it's the equivalent of saying they have -4 to strength. It's not quite the same thing, but again, a -2 to their attacks, -2 to their damage. That's basically a -4 to strength. That's not bad. So again, it gives us sneak attack, so we can set this up. It's not epic damage, 1d6 is shit, but we do have a spell that can increase it another 5d6. So you could do technically 6d6 of damage on this build with just sneak attack potential. And remember, that's with every kukri strike you have. And you had, what do we say, 7 plus 1 more with haste on you, so that's 8. That's a lot, man. That's a lot of sneak attack potential there. And again, every time we land a sneak attack, they're checking, they're checking, they're checking. Eventually, it's going to fucking work. There is no, they are immune if they make the check for 24 hours on this one. It is literally fortitude save, fortitude save, oh, they failed it. There it is. Yeah, more damage. And just mow through them, right? Wait. Deadly magic down here, I figured you are a caster. Hell, by the end of the build, you're going to be a full level 20 caster, no less, which is badass. So why not have 3 times a day where you can turn your spells where they just ignore spell resistance and spell immunity? Just say, fuck that guy. And anyone that's affected by those spells can't even cast spells for 2 to 4 rounds after that. So you really nuke the shit out of their spell casting ability. Sounds pretty baller, right? Remember, we have even more stuff going for us. Not only do I grab 2-weapon fighting here, Weapon Finesse Mythic over here, Piranha Strike Mythic. Notice how this one gives us more damage with our kukris, because again, they're Piranha Strike weapons, ones that we use Piranha Strike the feat on. That's this little toggle right here. Normally it gives us 2 points of extra damage per smack. Less if we offhand weapon it, but thanks to Double Slice, we get that back. So again, Piranha Strike is awesome. Notice how this one works. Instead of it being -1 to your swing, +2 to your damage, it's -1 to your swing, +3 to the damage. Well, what's our swing? We're at a -5 because you didn't get all the way up to a BAB of 20, which we could do with a spell, which is wasteful in my opinion, but you could do it. You could get a -6 and then +12 damage. Well, with this, it'd be -6 +18 damage because you get 3 instead of extra 2 damage. But normally, right now, what you're going to get, again, -5 to your swing, +15 to your damage with each kukri hit, and again, you have kukris in each hand. So that's a lot of extra damage right there. And again, sure, Power Attack Mythic, the counter to this one, if you want a strength-based build, is a viable option, and it's really powerful. Instead of it being -1 +2, it's -1 +3. However, if you wield it as a two-handed weapon, which again, if it's like a bardiche, a long spear, a glaive, it would have to be, or a longsword that you choke up on. Maybe you put away the shield because you don't need the extra armor. You can just say, fuck it, I need damage. Choke up on that longsword, put away the shield, and you will suddenly hit for -1 +3. That's what Power Attack does. But Power Attack Mythic would take that -1 +3, when you're two-handed wielding, to -1 +5. Which sounds real nice, right? So think about that -5 to your swing. That would be 5 times that for damage. So every hit would do 25 more damage because of Power Attack Mythic, assuming Power Attack is on and you're using a two-handed weapon. That's pretty sexy. But the fact that you're only hitting, again, 4 or 5 times, when you could be hitting, 7, 8 times with your 2-weapon build, the fact that you get more reflexes, more dodge armor on the reflex, the dex-based build, still makes me want to do the one I made for you today. But again, feel free to make it your own baby. Again, I can tell you how you can do that, but by and large, you wouldn't need like Weapon Finesse Mythic, you wouldn't need Piranha Strike. Obviously, you grab the Power Attack version of this one. You would still grab, in my opinion, these guys: Weapon Focus, Kukri, or whatever weapon you'd pick, like Glaive, Long Spear, and Improved Critical, whatever weapon you pick that was your two-hander. Again, there's solid choices out there, and there's some serious fun to be had with a two-handed build. In the simple fact that for a strength-based build, you have more spells that can make you stronger than you have spells that can make you more dexterous. Like you have Reduced Person and Cat's Grace. Cat's Grace can be countered with nothing more than a belt of dexterity +4, so Cat's Grace is kind of, who cares? Same with your Bull Strength. You have Bull Strength. You could go a strength-based build and cast Bull Strength on yourself. Again, who cares? You can find a belt of Strength +4 pretty fucking easy, I imagine, in this game. And that will counter that, and again, you wouldn't ever use that spell again, probably. So, again, why is Reduced Person not good enough? It's good, it's great in fact, but remember, you have Enlarged Person. We could do Legendary Proportions, which is amazing. You have Frigid or Frightful Aspect, which is amazing. All spells that can make you bigger and much stronger. So you can see how you could hit and hit fucking hard. And if you went a two-handed build, instead of doing things like two-weapon fighting, improved two-weapon fighting, greater two-weapon fighting like we have done for your character, that's, where is it at? Like this guy and the other ones, you know, like this one down here. No, wait, right there, and here. Literally, that's 3 feats that you can cycle back in. You don't need double slice. That's 4 feats you can cycle back into your build. You don't need weapon finesse because you're a strength-based build. That's 5 feats right now that you get back. Just poof. And while you could say, well, I get Piranha Strike back, yeah, remember you get Power Attack to replace it, though. So with those 5 feats, what could I make for you? How about you do the Cleaving Finish build? All you need for that one is Power Attack. Check. That would be the replacement for this guy. You would want to have Cleave. That's 1. You'd want to have Great Cleave. That's 2. You need Cleaving Finish. That's 3. Then you need improved Cleaving Finish. That would be this one. And you'd still have an extra feat besides. So again, it is possible to make yourself a strong base build. Hell, you don't even have to go that route. You're great at scaring things. Remember, we specifically said we wanted fear control to be our thing, right? So hey, let's capitalize on that shit. How do we do that? What if you did the Cornigan Smash build? Again, backpedal to it. Take away the 5 feats or whatever we had from, you know, the 2-weapon fighting, right? So weapon finesse, switch Piranha Strike with Power Attack, and take away your 2-weapon fighting, improved 2-weapon fighting, greater 2-weapon fighting, and double slice. Those are the ones that you really needed to be a 2-weapon wielder like a boss. What would we replace those with? Well, you need weapon focus. I already have weapon focus. Hell, I got greater weapon focus. Yes, it's in Kukri's because obvious, but you'd switch it to whatever makes sense to you. Longsword, Bardiche, whatever. Again, your choice on that one. As long as you can equip it as a fighter, you will happily use it. But you get weapon focus, which we have. You will get dazzling display. That's 1. You'll need Cornigan Smash 2. Shatter Defenses 3. So you only really need 3 feats. And again, we are getting rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would get and leave you 2 more feats to do whatever the fuck you want, brother. And there's a lot of potential out there. Hell, if you wanted Cleave and Great Cleave, you could do that. If you wanted to make both builds where you had Great Cleave, improved Cleaving Finish and Cornigan Smash and Shatter Defenses, I could make that for you. It will fit in this build. You will hit like a fucking truck. You will scare things left and right. You'll get a bonus to your damage because they're afraid of you. You're already get a bonus to your swing because of the fear control. See the profane bonus there? Again, no bad guy near you. And while you see this light blaze, I could easily switch that over to reach weapons. So long spear, again, Bardiche glaive, or long sword, or maybe you want an axe, whatever. Pick something. You would still get that +2. And the base attack bonus isn't going to change. The dexterity would change, but again, you're swapping it out for strength. So in a perfect world, this +5 would be here, and this +1 would be down there. So you'd still be getting that +5 up here for damage, for your attack bonus. But your damage changes. Why? Because remember, on a strength-based build, not only do you get your power attack to hit harder, and with power attack mythic, it'll hit harder, but also your strength modifier, this +5, is normally added to the weapon strikes. If it's a two-handed weapon strike, which means you're choking up on that longsword or you're wielding a two-handed weapon because you have no choice, instead of doing strength bonus and damage, you do 1.5 times this rounded down. So instead of a 5, it would be 7.5, round that down to 7. Yeah, it's only 2 more points of damage, but it's 2 more points of damage and it's per hit. And you're not stopping at +5. We already said you're going to increase your strength with gear, you're going to increase your strength with spells. Again, I could probably put you, instead of a 20 for strength, it'd probably be realistic that I could get you well into 30, probably into the low 30s. So let's just say 32. Okay, why? Because 32 would be an 11 for your modifiers. The +5 would be a +11 at that point. +11 for a normal weapon would be +11 to the swing, +11 to the damage. For you, though, for a two-handed swing, son of a bitch, that you are, that +11 becomes +11 to your swing, and then it becomes a 5.5 more, so 16.5, rounded down, so 16 per hit. That's a lot of bang for your buck, dude. And again, for frame of reference, yes, you get less hits. You get 4 to the 7 that you're seeing here. Because again, this is two-weapon wielding. When you're using a two hands or a sword and board, you're only going to get just these 4. 5 if you cast a spell on yourself like haste. But still, the principle's still the same. You're missing out on 3 extra attacks. But For those 3 extra attacks, how much more damage did I get? Well, again, 5 extra damage per smack. And if I'm getting 4 hits, that's 5, 10, 15, 20. That's 20 extra damage. But look at this side over here. With 3 hits, if each of them hit, that's 26 minimum, 26 minimum, 26 minimum, just from that 26 bonus on this side. I never count the 1d4. It's there, sure. And again, it'll be better than 26 because these are not magical weapons. Actually, I take that back. Are they magic weapons? They're cold iron, but I may have buffed them. No, I have not buffed them. They are literally cold iron weapons. So again, if you make them +5 weapons, this 26 jumps into 31 per hit. That's a lot of bang for your buck. So I'm just saying, I like this build. I like it for a reason. Let's walk you through the feats. And again, the fact that you won't be grabbing necessarily 9 levels of fighter first, then 1 level of wizard, then 10 of Eldritch Knight. Just be clear on this. Wizard, as soon as you can feel like you can grab it, certainly you have to grab it before Mythic rank 3. Cannot stress that enough, because you need to be Wizard 1 for when you take Lich on. Because once you become a Lich, they're going to say, what spellbook should I add my Lich spells to? You want to say the Wizard one. Okay? So you have to have it at that point, wherever that is. Whether that's level 1, level 5, level 4, level 9, whatever. Certainly by level 10. Because at that point, we really need to make sure Lich level 4 unlocks, because we really need to have that so we can go into Eldritch Knight. Otherwise, you're kind of screwed. You have to take like more wizard levels or more fighter levels, which is going to screw up your build. But this is a solid choice. Now, what are we going to get for feats? So again, we're going to get things like weapon finesse for obvious reasons, high dexterity. Notice that level 1, since you're going to play a fighter right off the bat, I imagine, it's the toughest build right there off the bat if you stay fighter for as long as you can. You get weapon finesse, and then because you're a fighter, you get an extra combat feat with weapon focus kukri. Now you may say, why not get Piranha Strike? And I got that at level 2. But you could switch and swap these. Again, I don't particularly care. But I know me. I'd rather have a bonus to my swing than a penalty to my swing and a bonus to my damage at the early levels. Remember, you need to hit the mark. And your dexterity at a nice +4 is nice. Thanks to weapon finesse, that's going to be all right. But it'll also be +5 because at level 1 you get a increase to your base attack bonus for level fighter. So you'll have a +5 to your swing right off the bat. Wouldn't you rather it be a +6? I know I would. And if I take this one instead of that one, if I turn this on, which why wouldn't you? You took it, so you should probably turn it on, right? That -5, or that +5, excuse me, just dropped down to a +4. Yes, it gave me 2 extra points of damage, but the damage is going to be minor with any weapon you're wielding, really, anyway. Even the kukris is kind of shit. So I'd rather push that back a little bit. So again, weapon finesse, weapon focus, and kukri for this reason. Piranha Strike at level 2 fighter, because again, now we can suffer that -1 penalty, because now you're at a BAB of 2. So -1 to your swing, +2 to your damage, total easy trade. Level 3, 2 weapon fighting. Do I need to switch to 2 weapon fighting at this point? You have a BAB of 3. Having this, even with kukris, you're at a -2 because you're 2 weapon wielding at this point, because you're using light weapons. So that +3 is technically like saying +1. Yes, you have weapon focus. So if you have kukri, you went from +1 now up to +2, and you got your dexterity modifier in there. So maybe you're still at a +4 there. So what is that? +6 to your swing, and you get 2 attacks. That might be worth it to you. I probably would not grab this, or use this, I should say, at level 3. I'd probably wait until you had your second attack over here. Then I'd either have a kukri in one hand, or in my other weapon choices, I'd have dual kukris like this. Boom, boom. Again, on you. When you feel like the fodder will die quickly, like they're not that particularly tough, you'll switch to 2 kukris like this. You'll get 2, 3 attacks depending on what stage of this build you're at. But if you switch back to just 1 kukri, because again, you're still a specialist with kukris. Down here. Weapon focus kukri. So kukris are still your bread and butter. You could switch to a better weapon if you find a longsword +5. Fucking take it. But kukris, when you're 2 weapon wielding, this is what you want. Now, level 3, got 2 weapon fighting. Level 4, again, if you're still going fighter, again, I can't tell you that you are, but because you got to get a wizard at some point. But if you can get to level 4 as a fighter, this is what you're going to grab. Weapon specialization kukri. This unlocks because you're a level 4 fighter. Okay? And you need weapon focus first to get it. We'll grab that way the hell back here. So we're covered. And what does this one do? Almost the same thing as this thing. It's giving us more damage. +2 to any kukri we wield. Well, we're 2-weapon wielding at this point, are pretty close to it, right? So that's both of these weapon swings are going to get a +2 to the damage. And again, that's a solid upgrade. No penalty, all bonus. Level 5, again, if you're doesn't matter if you're a fighter or a wizard, but level 5, you're going to unlock point blank shot. And again, this is where we get into the silly shit, where I get point blank shot, and then I'll get like precise shot somewhere. Where the hell are you? It's around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Right down there. Precise shot if you feel like you need it. And then eventually you'll get weapon focus ray. You'll get weapon specialization ray at the very end, and then you'll get point blank master ray, so that you can pew 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 with your laser spells at point blank range, because you are a melee combatant. This is not necessary. So again, this would be one of those that you can say fuck it and swap shit out. But that's what I did here, level 5. Notice at level 5, this is also where you unlock weapon training. This is how I picked light weapons. See where it says light blades weapon training +2. This is the first +1. The second one comes from down here. Okay. So again, you already got a bonus to your swinging, your damage for your kukris from there. That again, that's like weapon focus again for free and a little bit of extra damage besides. So very nice upgrade. Then at level 6, again, if you're still doing fighter, this is when I grabbed precise shot. Notice again you're getting bravery, so again saves against fear effects. We also had an upgrade back here in armor training. I forgot to point out this. If you're wearing armor, and again you're a fighter still, so why wouldn't you? You get armor check penalties are reduced a little bit, and you get to use more of that dexterity modifier. So this is another way to get your touch armor up and your regular armor up. So again, appreciate it. Level 7, again, doesn't matter if you're a fighter or a wizard, you're still getting this feat. Grab improved 2-weapon fighting. I don't know that you had to grab it here, but I try to grab things usually as soon as I can, as soon as they present themselves. So again, at this point, you got a really good chance at hitting a target. And again, if you're dual kukriing, you got 2 swings on both hands. 2 over here, 2 over here. And then weapon focus is still kicking in on both of them because they're both kukris. Weapon specialization is kicking in on both of them because they're both kukris. And piranha strike's working for both of them because they're light, finessable weapons. So again, you're doing your job. You know, you're weapon finessing it up, choppity, and things are just dying like they should. Now, on level 8, if you're still a fighter, which could be a thing, notice how we have improved critical kukri. This is what's jumping our range from 18, 19, and 20 to 15 to 20. So this is when we start crit fishing like crazy. And again, it's because of our improved 2-weapon fighting that I give a shit about this. The fact that we're always using kukris, we're really good at using kukris thanks to weapon focus, greater weapon focus, weapon specialization, greater weapon specialization for kukris. You're hitting really well with these and doing a lot of damage with them. Why wouldn't you want them to crit more? So I figured, fuck it, let's go with that. So that's why level 8 is improved critical kukri, if you're a fighter. And then I say that if is because, again, you'd have to go straight fighter to unlock it at this point. If not, if you had wizard at any time in between here, everything's shifted down 1, right? Because these are fighter feats, not wizard feats. Wizard feat, when you finally decide to pick wizard, you're grabbing meta, magic, and power. Whether that's at level 2, level 3, level 8, 9, or 10, you're grabbing this and only this. You're being a universalist wizard, and you're going to grab the arcane bond, so you can just take a spell and summon it fuck back. Doesn't matter, especially if it's a spell that you didn't prepare ahead of time. You're like, oh shit, I need, I don't know, resist energy. I didn't prepare any. Take one of your level 2 spell slots, use the spell or delete a spell, however you want to do it. Put in resist energy. Yes, you don't have to rest, because if with arcane bond, you can just poof summon it back. Now you have resist energy, cast it, again, you're good, go back to fighting. You can scribe scrolls as a generic wizard. So again, the ability to make scrolls while you're camping is a thing, I suppose. I say I give a shit, but it's there. And more importantly, this is to remind me too that you can scribe scrolls to your spell book. Remember, you will do so. The minute you become a wizard, every wizard spell that comes your way, unless you god-awful need it, should go in your spell book. You're the main captain of the team, right? You should have all the wizard spells, 1 through 9, in my estimation. So, level 8, again, if you're still, like I said, still a fighter, improved critical kukri makes sense. At level 9, doesn't matter if you're a fighter or a wizard, again, this will show up. Feel free to pick dodge. You don't have to. There's other stuff that we could slop around in here. But again, you're a dex-based build, an extra chunk of armor, especially when we're getting ready to turn into a wizard. So we're going to be using robes more likely than using, chain shirts and plate mail and all that fun shit. So dodge is of value, an increase to your armor class. If it's only here and here, and it's still an increase. Flat-footed is always a concern, but we have spells that can make you immune to flat-footed. Very late in the build, but it is a thing. So again, solid upgrade. Level 10. By this point, you've done 9 levels of fighter, 1 level of wizard, more likely than not. If you don't have to, if you've unlocked Lich level 2, remember, which is Mythic rank 4, by this point, or before this point, which is possible, you probably have already started dipping into Eldritch Knight. So again, these ones are going to come at weird times as well, but I'm just going to show you how I progressed it, and you'll change things around. So just write all these down on a piece of paper, and keep note of when they could show up. So when you say, oh, I can get Great Weapon Focus now, I'm taking it now. Boom, move it up in the build. But remember, we need to be able to unlock Wizard 1 and Mythic rank 4 Lich before you can ever touch this guy. Why? Because you have to be able to cast arcane level spells 3. So merging those two spell books of your Wizard and your Lich, when it gives you the choice, you'll say, make the spellbook the Wizard spellbook, and poof, the very first level of Lich you become, which is Mythic rank 3, you'll be able to cast level 1 and level 2 spells. Even though you're Wizard 1, you're Wizard plus Lich like 3 or something. So pretty high. But you're not Wizard Lich level 5. That's what we're hoping for, 5 or higher. Actually, I think it'll jump you like immediately to 5 or 6, which again will get you at Mythic rank 4 to 3rd level casting of spells. So then this will open itself up, and you'll start taking these. But at level 9, we said that. Level 10, again, by now you've done Wizard. You had no choice, I'd say, and you had Meta Magic and Power picked for that one, and the other stuff that I mentioned. From there, level 11 on up, let's just assume that that's when you have to take Eldritch Knight, 10 levels straight of Eldritch Knight. So at level 11, this is your first level of Eldritch Knight, let's just say. Notice how you have Double Slice. Again, Double Slice works with this guy. Why? Because remember what Weapon Finesse Mythic does. It gets your dex modifier and adds it to the damage of your weapon in your main hand. In your offhand, it would still be half of this dexterity. But because you're grabbing Double Slice, suddenly now it adds that pretty +5, +6, +12, whatever you have over here to both weapons. And that's a solid damage upgrade. Level 11, also if you're the first level Eldritch Knight, you notice how they get a feat here. Feel free to grab this one, Greater Weapon Focus Kukri. Totally available, probably available before now, but the point's still the same. You'll happily take it. This is, again, since you're using Kukris all the time, both Kukris will get this bonus. And back to our upgrades here, notice how we have Weapon Focus Mythic Kukris. Notice how this doubles the bonus from both feats, Weapon Focus and Greater Weapon Focus, for the weapon of choice, in our case, the Kukris. Why does that matter? Look at our attack bonus. You see where it says +2 for just weapon focus? Another +2 for greater weapon focus. I get a +4 thanks to those two feats and that one mythic upgrade, this weapon focus Kukri. So again, a real solid swing for you. Then, let's go back to here. Then we have, let's see, where was I? Level 11, Double Slice, and Great Weapon Focus Kukri. Nothing at 12. 13, you're going to grab Greater 2-Weapon Fighting. Now is the perfect time for you to grab it. Again, a 3rd extra attack. By this point, you've had 9 levels of Fighter, so a BAB of 9, and you've had 3 levels, not 4, 3 levels of Eldritch Knight. So 3 and 9 is 12. You have a BAB of 12. That's an attack 1, an attack 2, and an attack 3. You're already into your 3rd attack on your main hand. You've had 2 attacks for your offhand for a while, thanks to this guy way the hell back here. Now, thanks to your BAB being high enough, you can grab Greater 2-Weapon Fighting. You probably could have grabbed it sooner, but the point's still the same. You're grabbing it at least here, and now you'll have your 3rd and final attack on your offhand. And it'll just keep getting stronger from this point on. 14, nothing here. So remember, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 14. Here's 15. Notice at 15, we're getting 2 feats. You're going to grab Blind Fight, because why the hell not? It's an amazing upgrade. And then, of course, you're going to get down here and grab Greater Weapon Specialization Kukri. Where you grab them, it doesn't matter, I don't think. I think both are available here. But if not, Blind Fight might be unique. Keep it to here. This one's definitely a combat feat, because that's what Eldritch Knights get. They get 3 of them down here. Here's a really good one. Again, another +2 to your damage for Kukris. And you have Kukris in both hands, right? So again, now we're up to +4 to your damage. because of this and the other feat. Remember, weapon specialization, they stack. But wait, we're not done yet. Notice down here, I have the improved critical. You could, I didn't, but you could grab something called weapon specialization mythic kukri. And it would add, I think, half your mythic rank to your damage, to your weapon of choice, your kukri. So that'd be +5 more damage. But I still maintain you'd probably want to have just a better multiplier on your crit. Since we're crit fishing, I'd rather do ×1 more damage. So instead of doing ×2, you double your damage on a crit for your kukris. Now they triple. So your choice. You could swap that out. But if you just want flat damage, that would be the other way to go. I did think about that one, and I would technically use that one also on a two-handed build. Why? Because you don't need weapon finesse mythic. It doesn't exist for a two-handed build, right? It's your strength-based build. There's no weapon finesse that you need to take, and you wouldn't need this either. So that would free up a feat. This is another way for your two-handed build, if you went that route, to just hit like a truck. Again, +5 extra damage, just free. Fuck yeah. 4 or 5 attacks around. Again, that's another 20-25 damage around to one dude. Just bam, bam, bam. Just beat the shit out of the guy. And again, with that, with power attack mythic, with weapon focus mythic for, let's just say greatsword, and improved critical for said greatsword, you would be critting for like 3 or 4 times the damage. Just fucking murdering shit. Or longsword, or whatever weapon you choose. That's a two-hander. You could have some serious fun. And you also would need 2-weapon fighting mythic, because you're not 2-weapon fighting. So again, you would lose these 2. You wouldn't need them. You would replace this one with power attack mythic. And again, with these 2 that you're missing, you would definitely grab weapon specialization X, whatever X is, whatever weapon you wield. And you'd still have one left over to pick whatever the fuck you want. So again, there is some fun to have if you wanted to go just like a big sword and board build, or a fucking two-handing monster build. From there, though, we were at 15. So again, blind fight and greater weapon specialization kukri. At level 16, nothing. 17, I mean, more spells and so on and so forth, but nothing of note. Notice we got weapon focus ray. You don't need this. I'm grabbing it. And same at 19, we're getting not only weapon specialization ray here, but also our point blank master. And again, solid in my opinion. You don't need to do this. But I know me, I don't like attacks of opportunity. Even with me having really good armor when I buff up with all my spells and shit besides, I still don't like being giving the bad guy a chance to attack me. So again, if I am in the thick of things, so again, let's just say this is our battlefield. This is me. These are 2 bad guys ready to poke me in the face. I'm about to Ginsu chef the motherfuckers. But I notice that there's a wizard way the fuck back here casting. Sure, I could cast a spell and hit him. Doing so means these guys provoke attacks of opportunity and attack me. If I do a ray spell, though, and he's within range, and I can hit him, distract him, kill him, ideally, with said spell, thanks to Point Blank Master, Ray, they do not provoke an attack of opportunity anymore. These guys will not get a chance to just generically swing at me just because I was dumb enough to cast a spell. But it has to be a ranged touch attack, a Ray spell. And that's why I like that. And again, on a dex-based build, it seems appropriate. And as a full wizard, I mean, you're level 20 wizard by the end of this build, Sunshine, you have lots and lots of ray spells. Let's count them for you, shall we? So we got 1 here, 2, 3, 4. If I have the Meta Magic Rod, this could be 5. You could reach those. Remember, those are touch attacks. Melee touch attacks can be reached and therefore shot. So technically you have 5 at level 0 that never run out. Level 1, I could also add this one if I reach it. So that's another one. So what does that put us at? 6. 7, 8, 9 if I reach that one, 10, 11 if I reach that one. So by level 1 casting, which was easy enough for you to get, and again, you're going to grab all these spells, aren't you? You have at least 11 ray spells, potential for ray spells. That's a lot of ray spells, and that's just the first 2 goddamn levels of spells you have, and that's not counting things like Scorching Ray and Acid Arrow. Remember, Frigid Touch can be shot. Pernicious Poison a touch attack? I don't think so. It's range of touch, but I don't think it's a touch attack. But again, on that, there's others. Again, we got Battering Blast over here. You can shoot Vampire Touch with a reach effect. You can shoot, or is that Force Punch as a reach effect. These new spells, I didn't even bother to look at them. They could be melee touch attacks or ray spells. I wasn't paying attention. So maybe these undead spells. Ray of Exhaustion's a ray spell. It says it in the goddamn name. Again, you're going to have a lot of ray spells. More than my typical Eldritch Scion builds do. And I love going point blank Master Ray with that guy. So if he's fun doing it, you better believe a full level wizard's going to have a blast doing it. Because they're going to get all kinds of cool shit. Let me show you one of my favorites of the higher ones. Polar Race. Just brutal. This one's just an amazing spell. Not only because of the high damage, but also because it does dex drain to the target. So if you really need to hamper somebody, possibly kill them by taking their dex down to 0, Polar Ray is a solid choice. Notice I didn't even mention the fact that you had spells like Enervation. That's a ray spell, and the level 9 version of it, Energy Drain, is the souped up version of it. It's also a ray spell. So again, you have lots of ray spells. Not to mention, you have spells like Greater Shadow Evocation. So any evocation spell, like your other ray spells, Hellfire Ray, Scorching Ray. Weirdly, I suppose if you wanted to, you could do your Ray of Frost in there too, but that'd be dumb. But it's there, is my point. So you have more ray spells in here. If any of the conjuration spells are ray spells, you have Shades and you have Greater Shadow Conjuration. Was that level 6? Sorry, give me a second. Greater Shadow Conjuration. So again, between Shades and Greater Shadow Conjuration, you have access to other conjuration spells, and there's at least 2 of them that are ray spells. Here's one. Here's the other. So again, you have lots of ray spells, which is why I like this. Again, it's not necessary. It's me being weird again. So if you don't like that, again, that gives you feats back to play with. What number? We got Point Blank Master Ray's gone. That's 1. You have to cycle out Weapon Specialization Ray. You don't need that. That's 2. You don't need Weapon Focus Ray. That's 3. I would still maintain, though, that you want to keep Point Blank Shot and Precise Shot. You don't have to. That's 5 then if you get those back. But you are a fighter. And even if you're not a dex-based fighter and you're still going to wield a bow, a crossbow, chuck a javelin, throw an axe, whatever, Point Blank Shot and Precise Shot are the bare minimum for any ranged attacking attacker that I have. So I'd still keep them, but it's on you. Again, like I said, if you want to recycle all those back, that's 5. And like I said, for a two-handed wielding build where you're doing the Bardiche, let's say, I could let you do or give you enough points or feats with this down here, the free ones you get for being a fighter, and all these up here besides, you would still have more than enough to do your power attack, your Cornigan Smash build, and your improved cleaving finish build, and still have feats left over. So you could maybe expand the wizard side of things, getting things like, Spell Pen, Greater Spell Pen, a Spell Focus for Necromancy or Evocation or whatever trips your fancy, buddy. But I'd still maintain you want Meta Magic Empowered. Why? Because one of the things I gave you was, let's see if I can find it, favorite Meta Magic Empower. Normally Meta Magic Empower increases the spell slot by 2 slots. So a level 1 spell becomes level 3 when you empower it. With this mythic ability or feat, whatever the hell it's called, mythic ability, there it is, then you want to pick Empower. That's the only one you have, so you have no choice. But if you pick it, it lowers the cost by 1 to a minimum of 0, obviously. So what does that do? Empower now only costs 1 level to empower a spell. That's a lot more manageable, Sunshine. So you take a level 1 spell that's really good, something that has no spell resistance, so those demon pricks will take full damage from it, because again, as long as you hit them and you have a really good chance to hit, your BAB is really nice and it's a touch attack. You have a in the face with a nice 5d6. Well, if I empower it, it's now level 2 thanks to all the abilities I've given you, and that's 50% more damage, obviously. So instead of 5d6, it's kind of like saying 7.5d6. It's not a good equation there, but basically take whatever number of damage you would have done and multiply it by 1.5. So if you did 4, you did actually 6. If you did 30, you did 45, and that's the highest you can do on this one. Then that's not bad. Just saying. So there's some fun to be had here. Magic Missile, same deal. Anything that has a die roll is 50% greater. Usually that's just damage, but not always. Here's a die roll. Dex damage, 1d6 plus 5. If I empower that, it's a level 2 spell. But if I empower that, how much dex did I do? What if it's the worst case scenario? Bare minimum, right? You did roll a 1. 1d6, right? So you roll a 1, but your caster level is well above caster level 10 because it's +1 per 2 caster levels. So if you're caster level 20 like you are, you will get that +5. So 1 plus 5 is 6, but wait, you empowered it. So it's actually 9. So the worst case scenario for you is you roll a 9, or do 9 points of dex damage. Okay, well wait, they made a fortitude save. They lowered it by half. That's 4.5. They'd probably round that down for them, benefit of the doubt. So they're probably only going to have a -4 to their dex. That's still a -4 to their dex, and that's the worst case scenario, dude. So what did that do to that guy? -4 to dex, that's a -2 to all their reflex saves. That's a -2 probably to their armor. If they're attacking like a weapon finesser or using a ranged attack, that's a poor swing now by -2. You can see the fun you can have with just that. Same with not Ray of Sickening, that was just a flat penalty, so you can't empower that one. But this one here you can, Raven Female, the same principle here, but for strength. And it's a ray versus a touch attack. So again, something that you, as a point blank master, specialize at point blank range. So again, zap that motherfucker, roll that terrible 1 and that +5 on top of that. So now he's at a plus or a -6 to his strength, but it's empowered, so it's actually a -9. If he makes his fortitude check, it's a -4. You can see the appeal. So again, solid choices here with doing empowered. And just to toot your own horn here, because it's empowered where it only goes up 1 level instead of 2 now, all these spells, which normally you could not empower, any of them that can be empowered because they can go up 1 rank. So you can cast a level 9 version of Polar Ray, for instance, that 25d6, you're not going to get that because you're only level 20 caster. But you got 20d6 because it's empowered. That's technically like saying a 30d6 ray spell to the face. And that 1d4 of dex drain, that's 1d4 times 1.5. So if you roll a 1, hey, that sucks. But if you roll a 2, 3, or a 4, it's more dex drain than you expected because it's empowered. Just saying, there's some really fun shit you get to have here for that. Anything that does damage empowered is amazing, and it's not just damage. Summon monsters. There's a die roll for how many soul eaters or whatever else you summon, right? So again, if that's empowered, it's entirely possible that you get more of them, 1.5 times the number. So again, the minimum there was 1d4 plus 1. The minimum was a 2. So the minimum then, because you're timing by 1.5, that'd be 3. The maximum is 5. Times that by 1.5. That's 7.5. So instead of 7.5, they give you 7. But again, that's a lot better than 5. I think we can all agree. Just saying. I like Empower. Empower does a lot for a tune. For the ones that are like the generic things, where it's just a flat buff, notice that that's a bummer. It says that we can Frightful Aspect this, the Empower. See how it's got the pip? So the way you would do this, for those that don't know, you go to Meta Magic, you click it. If this is white, you click it, it goes here. Notice how that's a pinwheel. You can add more than one Meta Magic to something. We don't have more than one though. So we're just going to do the one. You give it a border color. I make it yellow so it's bright and obvious. And I give it the double or the quad border where it's the left, right, top, and bottom, right? Do that. That's what it'll look like. And then you write your spell. Boom. There it is. And if, again, I go back to level 9, you will see it in here. See that? The empowered version of this. Now, why this one gets empowered, I don't know. The only thing that sticks out is that 1d4 rounds of being frightened. Again, if that's the part that gets empowered, awesome. Because what does that mean? That they become frightened for even longer, probably. Yeah, if you roll a 1, it's still a 1. But if you roll a 2, it's actually a 3. A 3 becomes a 4. A 4 becomes a 6. Because it's empowered. Just saying, that's some fun to have. And again, this is one of the strength-based buffs. I did forget to mention that you do have another dex-based buff. I forgot about Fiery Body. This one does give you a +6 to your dexterity. Again, a belt of dexterity +6 won't stack with this, so I forget it routinely. But it's not to say that it's bad for 2 reasons. One, well, actually 3 reasons. One, you get immune to a variety of things, not just fire, but blindness, critical hits, ability to score damage, disease, because you do not have a body. Your body is made of fire. That's awesome. You notice you take more damage from cold. Find spells that'll make you immune to cold. We have them. So again, that's not of a concern. The other things you like about this, not just the dexterity, your fire spells, all those fire spells you have, remember you're a wizard proper, you have every spell under the book, right? All those fire spells get a +1 to the DC check because you're made of fire. So while you don't have, spell focus or elemental focus, this is like saying you have elemental focus fire for free. And again, it's a long-lasting buff, 1 minute per level. That's 20 minutes for you. No, it's not, because I gabbed you very early enduring spells and greater enduring spells. So your spells that last 5 minutes or longer are 24-hour buffs now. So you're a buff bot for yourself only. I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to buff the team, but by and large, you can just cast a minimum number of spells to buff yourself to the fucking tits, and then go into battle with your dual kukris and just choppity, 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 sunshine. And I think you'll have fun with it. Now, as far as your skeleton buddy, I picked fighter. I went generic. I figured, you know what, you're kind of weak, no offense, but you're not the best combatant ever. And having a buddy that's tough as fucking nails, like a longsword fighting fighter, made sense. He still has things about him that's awesome. Because I picked fighter, you're allowed to pick a weapon focus. So notice that over here, you'll see that he has weapon focus and longsword. So you get to do that. And again, it's up to you to decide what. He was given a magic longsword, so I said, fuck it, keep him with a longsword. You don't have to. If you have extra kukris, you could have given them kukris. He's just not going to be great at it because they're strength-based. No, actually, he'd be okay. But he's not amazingly buffed, is my point. He has a spell cast on him, so Eagle Splinter, just to increase this, just to see what I could do with it. But that increased his health. That's why I did that. So you can see that his fortitude here is based on 6, not 8. It's because his charisma should be a +6 over here. So again, for those that don't know, undead do not have a con stat. Undead use their charisma stat for their fortitude and for their extra HP. So by giving him this one spell, Eagle Splendor, I jacked his health up considerably. It's +2, which means for his level, I think he's level 22, so was that 44 more health I gave him casting one spell on him. Just to point that out to you. You can make it whatever weapon you want, and again, the reason you can do that is because he does have his own inventory. Again, I haven't geared him out in any way, shape, or form, and he's still looking okay right now. This is what he came with when he showed up at the front door, so to speak. So again, he's good at the magical longsword. He's got a good tower shield. You can treat him like a fighter, so he'll have, as far as feats are concerned, simple martial proficiency, shield focus, greater shield focus. He doesn't have armor. What the fuck the hell is wrong with you with not having armor? Oh, there we go. Heavy armor focus. What? Where's his armor proficiencies? I know you can give him armor, and he can wear it. So, anyway, whatever. Point is, he has the ability to wear armor. Feel free to give him plate mail, a chain shirt, whatever that you're not using, he can use. So, again, it's like having two fighters and one that's an awesome wizard all at the same time. He is considered human, so he's skilled, so that doesn't matter. As far as his skills, if you're curious, all they give him is athletics, mobility, and perception. But that's okay, and give him really good ones. I mean, athletics is looking nice at rank 22. His perception is looking really good at rank 22, and his mobility at rank 22. So they gave him the ones that they gave a shit about, which is nice. You will buff him in a variety of other ways, increase his strength, his dex, whatever. But again, he's fun. You could have gone, instead of the fighter, there was a barbarian as a choice, an inquisitor as a choice, cleric, bard, a specific dirge bard, one that does, like doom songs and death songs and shit like that. Oh, you could have gone magus. The downside is the only one out of that entire list, to me, that is an easy and obvious pick is the bard. Why? Because you see he already has a high charisma. Yes, I bumped it 4 points, but it's normally at 23. So his charisma is his casting stat if he's a bard. If he's an inquisitor, it's his wisdom. His wisdom sucks. If you give him something else, I forget what other things was on the list, but there might have been something that was an intelligence-based caster. Again, he would suck at that. So if it's not charisma, you have to give him a piece of gear. Again, he can wear gear. Give him the tiara of +6 wisdom and make him an inquisitor, and there's nothing wrong with that. The magus, that's what it was. The magus requires intelligence. Give him the intelligence tiara if he's going to be a magus. I just didn't like the magus for him, and I didn't like the... the inquisitor was okay. The inquisitor had spells that allowed him to heal himself, so I did kind of like that, and some buff and attack spells besides. So there was some fun with that. Same with the cleric. And again, the cleric would need more wisdom. But, I don't know. Sometimes you just want to have a skeleton fighter being a badass, and that's what he is. So I was kind of cool with this. Like I said, give him the proper gear, give him the proper love and attention, and he will be tanky motherfucker, choppity and shit up, just side by side with you. And remember, the reason that we care about him being tough, besides the obvious, is if he's in the front ranks fighting with you, and you two are technically the front ranks, remember, you have sneak attack. It's only 1 die. 5 more if I cast Sense Vitals on you, which is a spell you have, but at least you have 1. And remember, we had that kick-ass ability, Tainted Sneak Attack. How do we set that up? Well, you could be invisible, you could be flanking with a buddy, for example. And again, anytime a sneak attack lands, there's this chance for this, the target to be tainted. Vulnerable to all weapons. Not your weapons, all weapons, which means his attack's going to do more damage. Elemental damage, that's your spells, your teammates' spells, again, doing more damage. And again, they suffer to their attack rolls and their damage rolls, and again, until the end of the combat. That's a solid screw you. So you want to try to set up sneak attack as often as possible, and have them fail that, of course. So once they become tainted, move on to another target, I suppose. But between you and him, he's tough as nails. He will fucking take a beating for you. There's ways for you to buff him, heal him, and all that fun jazz besides. And set up sneak attack with his help, which I thought you'd get a kick out of. Notice we got abundant casting. This was the only one we grabbed. Again, if you could recycle some feats back out of this build, remember how I said you don't need this, because if you're two-handed fighting, this is nothing. You get rid of that, you get rid of this. You can grab something else, you grab power attack here, or somewhere else, but you'd have an extra feat left over. What might you grab with that extra feat? Well, how about you grab improved abundant casting? We didn't grab it. And why? Because your spells are limited at 10, 10, 9, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4. More intelligence means these will all go up, but that 5, 5, 5 could be 9, 9, 9 if you grab that other mythic ability called improved abundant casting. Hell, I could get rid of Archmage armor, give you a good chain shirt. Told you about those feats, remember, with the arcane armor training and arcane armor mastery. You could get those on a two-handed build, get yourself a mithril chain mail or chain shirt, and you would not have arcane spell failure. You'd still have a decent armor class, and you could get abundant casting, improved abundant casting, and then with cycling this one back out, you could get greater abundant casting. That's 4 more spells here, 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 here. That's 24 more spells a day from your highest level, from 4 on to 9. That's a lot of extra spells, Sunshine. But I did like the Archmage armor. This is one of the rare exceptions where this only works on one spell, but it's a really good buff. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of like it. But everybody's different. I hope this makes sense to you for what I picked and why I picked it. Again, notice when you pick your fighter, you'll have like a combat feat that you get to pick for him. I decided, fuck it, he's a blind fighting dude too, just like me. And I'd rather have him have that mischance advantage on those mischances, so I gave it to that. And then I picked weapon focused longsword. You have to pick that too. So pick whatever weapon makes sense to you. I like him. He's a fun character. I've played him a little bit. Didn't look like it because I went back to an earlier spot. But I have played him to test him out to see how he does for his damage. Again, he does work. Let me just show you some buffs real quick for the character. First, notice...
we should move.
Notice we have things like Command Undead, just on autopilot, infinite use. It's part of the ability of being a Lich. You literally get to Command Undead. So if there's an Undead in the battlefield, you can just point to that motherfucker, and as once a round, whatever, you can just dominate one. They will try to shug it off every round, but until that time, they will literally constantly try to just, I'm not with you. No, you're not. You're on my team. Kill that guy, and he'll turn and kill his buddy. Notice we have the AoE damage the living. You're not living, neither is your undead pet. And of course, don't forget your spells like Create Undead and Animate Dead spells. Amazing little army for you. But then you have, when they get hurt, you have this one, which can heal them and you. Remember, you are undead. So again, heal undead. Works on you. Pretty damn nice. Now, the downside is you could also heal the undead from the bad guys. So be careful with that shit. But again, versus you dying, you know what you're going to do. So fuck it, I'll take another round of beating their ass. This is your deadly magic 3 times a day. You can, or 3 rounds a day, however you want to look at it, you can cast a spell that will ignore spell resistance and spell immunity. That's obvious. Awesome. I wouldn't waste it on something like a spell that can miss. Remember, it just says that it ignores spell resistance and spell immunity. It doesn't mean it auto hits the target. So things like your ray spells, those can miss. Unless you really feel confident that you're going to hit that son of a bitch, I probably wouldn't use it on those. Use it on spells that are like AoE spells, like Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Stinking Cloud, shit that's just like, fuck that guy. He deserves to suffer. No spell resistance for you. And again, pretty damn cool. Your Hand of the Apprentice, this is just the lame level 1 buff you get from being a wizard. You basically throw your melee weapon at range, smacks him in the face, and then comes right back to your hand. Kind of a la Thor, but you'd probably never use it. Piranha Strike, always on. Power Attack, of course, if you had a 2-handed weapon, you get that. You already understand how that works. But spell-wise, let's talk about some of your favorite buffs. Okay, so not only do you have your Mage Armor, you also got Shield Spell, Reduce Person for you for extra dexterity, and it's harder to hit you. And you may say, well, do I really want to do Reduce Person? Because again, it makes me a teeny tiny person, and that means my damage goes down, right? Because you're using a tinier kukri, right? technically, yes. Notice how the kukri went to 1d3. Notice how your dexterity went up 2 points. And remember, you get dex bonuses on this side. This was a 26 a moment ago. So instead of doing 1d3, it's actually saying 1d3 plus 1, which is technically better than you were a second ago. Just saying. So your damage potential just went up. Not a lot, but it did go up. Also, your armor went up because, again, better dexterity, and it's harder to hit you. So size bonus and dex bonus combined. And your attack bonus went up. Why? Because, again, size plus 1 and your dexterity. You're a weapon finesser. So, again, you just increased all kinds of stats with one little bitty spell. But, again, solid choice. Not just that, but, again, you got your shield spell, expeditious retreat, mage armor, big one, remember, thanks to our mage armor. Just those 4. First, look at your armor class. You're at 37, 30, and 19. And again, we have yet to really kit you out with any kind of realistic gear. No belts of dexterity for you, no rings of protection yet. All that shit's coming, but just naked in the breeze, this is what your character is looking like right now. Really fucking tough, really hitting hard, doing decent amounts of damage, multiple attacks around, and I've yet to cast haste on you, Sunshine. So again, you're doing well. Notice your buffs, though. 24 hours, 24 hours, 24 hours, 24 hours. Remember, 5-minute buffs or greater, thanks to greater enduring spells, which we grab ASAP. You literally are buffing up for the day, which really gets a lot of bang for your buck when we talk about spells. Now, other things. Here's your Sense Vitals. This one, sadly, is only going to get to 2-minute buffs. Notice I've slotted it twice. So when you really have tough fights and you just want to really get some extra sneak attack loving in, buff with this. But until that time, I'm not going to waste it. Mirror Image, on the other hand, that's a 24-hour buff for you. Blur, 24-hour buff. Sounds good. See, Invisible was a 24-hour buff very early. It doesn't even need to be 5 minutes. This one can get you up to an hour. If it can get to an hour, Enduring spells is enough to make it a 24-hour buff. Bam. Got same with Resist Energy. But then 10 minutes per level at level 6, casting, or caster level, you can have this, let's say, electricity. No, Sonic, sure. It's a rare one. And again, it'll be a 24-hour buff for you. So again, it doesn't take much to get them to be 24-hour buffs for you. Notice we have Haste. That's only going to be 2 minutes. That's why I slotted it twice. Notice I have Greater Magic Weapon. You want that kukri in the left or the right hand to be a magic weapon? +5 maximum. See how this one's 36, this one's 32? Again, I got a nice bonus to this, and again, it's because of my enhancement +5 Cold Iron Kukri, whereas this one here doesn't have that. So again, the enhancement I'm getting for being an acrobat. By the way, I forgot to tell you that your background was an acrobat, and that's to give you trickery and mobility, I want to say. Yeah, as acrobat bonuses and green check marks. Notice the athletics of 4. I put 1 rank in there. That's a mistake. You probably should put it in stealth. Because again, you are a racial bonus and now a size bonus for being a teeny tiny person. So you can get that stealth actually up pretty high before you even cast something like Vanish, Invisibility, or Greater Invisibility on you. Just saying, I would swap that out. But your Persuasion, solid 20. Perception, solid 20. Knowledge Arcana, solid 20. You see, we're doing well. Knowledge World, that's shit. Use Magic Device was more than enough, but again, that's a point there you can slop anywhere else. Put it into Mobility. You only put 3 ranks in it, but that's again if you're fighting defensively. Solid character. What else we got for spells? Again, I got +5 instead of +1 for that. If I wanted to make the other one, Arcane Bond, do it on the other one. Bam. Now both of them are at the +5. See that? 36, 32 damage per hit on average, more than, because of the 1d3, but again, just say 32 and 32. Again, solid swings. We've yet to cast Haste on yet. We've got a really nice swing bonus going for us. Obviously, other teammates are going to help you with buffs and so on and so forth. But still, so far, you're doing real well for yourself. What else do we have? Blink, I don't like it as much. It's a nice buff. I'd rather honestly have Displacement, so you probably wouldn't swap that out. But I mention it because this will cause you to have Arcane Spell failure. That's an issue. Notice how we have Protection from energy. So again, if you need to be protected from that Sonic energy even more, you have the ability to do so. Again, it'll be a 24-hour buff for you. So again, looking nice. Same with your Greater Magic Weapons, although those are easy to get to 24 hours. Because by themselves, even without Enduring Spells or Greater Enduring Spells, you can get them to a 20-hour buff. So those are really nice for you. Other buffs. Oh, the Vampiric one, the Vampiric Blade. Now notice this one. It's only 1 minute per level, but you're level 20, so 20 minutes. But again, all you have to do is get it to 5. Suddenly it's a 24-hour buff. So obviously you wake up in the morning and you cast this. If you 2-weapon wield, you may say, which weapon did it go on? Both of them. Oh my god, look at that bloody, drippy nastiness of just fucking mean. And every time that hits, it does, what, 1d6 of damage or something? Oh, plus your caster level. Oh, Jesus. So 1d6 plus 20, which they're not counting for here, but it's definitely there. And every time it damages, it heals you for the same amount. So if you do, again, 21 is the worst case scenario per hit, you're healing for 21 health every time you stab somebody. And again, 24-hour buff, bitch. Look at that shit. Right there. Just mean, multi-attacking, healing yourself with every strike. I thought you'd like that. Of course, don't forget your stone skin. I didn't pack any diamond dust, so I won't cast it, but it's there. Notice we have Life Bubble, another amazing wizard spell. This makes you immune to a variety of things. It basically just gives you immunity to diseases and poisons that are inhaled. Cloud Kill, Stinking Cloud, spells that you have access to, like the one right next to it. Don't forget your Shadow Evocation, your Shadow spells in general. So Evocation, Conjuration, Shades, they're there. That's like a laundry list of shit. Like, if, oh, I didn't pack that Fireball, son of a bitch. Oh, I got Shadow Evocation. Yeah! See what I'm saying? So again, remember what those spells are and what they do. Other spells like, your summons, of course, your create undead. These are not summons. Be real clear on this. So when you get like augmented summoning and superior summoning, they don't work on these. These are necromancy spells, not conjuration spells. So necromancy, all day long, every day, all day. You get to choose between which one you bring out. So do you want the tanky tank bastard, the guardian armor bastard, or do you want the dude that's like a grave knight? Again, depends on you. And again, you already have a little knight buddy already being a badass, so whatever makes sense to you. And obviously don't forget your level 3 level 4, animate dead spell. Amazing spell. Don't forget you have better spells than shield, like bone shield. Notice how this one only gives you a +6 bonus to your armor instead of the +4 from shield. It doesn't make you immune to magic missile, so you still want the shield spell. But notice how this one here makes you immune to critical hits for 1 minute per level. No, it doesn't, because it's 24 hours, baby. Just brutal. Other shit like Blessing of Unlife. If you ever were worried about whether you were considered undead or not, like maybe I won't heal from it, or I have a teammate that's definitely going to get hurt, give them this spell. Blessing of Unlife turns them into the undead temporarily. And by temporarily, I mean for 24 goddamn hours for you. And again, you can cast this on yourself. And all the immunities and buffs and shit that you get for being undead is right there waiting for you. Notice that we have, again, Greater Shadow Conjuration is another staple for me. Sea Mantle's a nice spell for you for a nice solid protection buff. Here's a nice Greater Angelic Aspect, the bigger version of the two. I love my Foresight spell. This is the one that makes you immune to being flat-footed. And what the hell, let's set ourselves on fire. Now, look at your character under Martial and look at all the different immunities I just given you with all these different spells. And again, there's probably more that I just wasn't thinking about. But you're immune to electric, fire, cold, acid, negative. You have, again, these ones as well. Notice how Sonic is 120. That's because of our protection from energy. We will absorb up to 120. So it's kind of nice that this is up here, by the way. We also have beneath that, you didn't see it because I cast it. I give you also resist energy Sonic, remember? I thought I did. Yeah, right here. So it's technically 30. So it'll absorb the first 30 because of resist energy. Then anything that bleeds over that, it will take from the 120 bubble that you have. And notice how we have bludgeoning will penetrate our damage reduction of 5, but it won't penetrate the damage reduction 10 unless it's an evil bludgeoning weapon. So again, without Stone Skin, we're still doing okay. If you had Stone Skin, you would see another one that would say 10, probably say 120, but it's actually DR10. And it would say, on the other side over here, it would say Adamantine. So, is it a bludgeoning evil Adamantine weapon? I'm sure they exist, but if they don't have all three of those categories, then they're not getting through the 10, the 10, or the 5. One of them is going to kick in. So you will take at least less damage from being smacked around. I thought that was worth mentioning. You're immune to a metric shit ton of stuff, which is fucking awesome. And you are susceptible to certain things like cold, but notice we gave ourselves immunity to cold. We're susceptible to it because of our fiery body. We take 50% more damage. It says so in the tooltip. However, immunities kick in too. So if you're immune to something, it'll still say, it didn't do any damage. So know that that's still a thing. So make sure you find something that makes you immune to cold. For frame of reference, by the way, that was your Greater Angelic Aspect. The Greater Angelic Aspect makes you immune to acid and cold, which is 2 of the 5 things you're immune to up here. Fire came from your immunities from Fiery Body, and I think it made you also immune to electricity. Yeah. So Fiery Body made you immune to both those. Also, one other fun note I forgot to mention about Fiery Body. If you were to do fire damage to yourself, since you're immune to it, you would think, oh, I'm just immune, I won't take any damage. Actually, it has a slightly different effect. Fiery Body allows you to heal from fire damage. You will actually take a third of it, but to heal instead. So like a 10d6 fireball spell maximized does 60 damage, right? If you took all 60 damage, you'd be immune, but you would heal a third of that in health. So you'd heal 20 health from a 60-point fireball spell. I thought that was worth mentioning because you could do that yourself, like be alone in a corner and just have Fiery Body on and spam fireball at your feet, healing yourself and damaging the bad guys all at the same time. I've done it. Just saying, it's fun. So you have a lot to work with here. Again, I'm not married to the choices, so the real selling point for me is the fact that you don't have a lot of really good slots, for level 4 through 9, so I really do miss the improved abundant spell casting and the greater abundant spell casting. But I think I gave you a solid fighter, Eldritch Knight, Wizard, Lich combo. Hopefully that's what you're looking for, brother. With that, if you're going to change anything, which is perfectly fine, I will not take offense. Tell us what you changed, where you changed it, how you modified it to your own liking. And like I said, know that you could do sword and board, know that you can do two-handed wielder. Easy enough to change them out. Follow my other guides for how I make the Corningate Smash build or the improved cleaving finish build, and with a reach weapon. Use those as your guiding posts for what you might swap out from this build. But with that, my name is Brother Mean. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, tell me what you think. I'll see you soon. Bye now.